So moving on to the next speaker of the evening, we have Mr. Peshwa Acharya, graduated 1989 from Kamakal, Surrey, Chemical Engineering. I'm sorry, I apologize. It's the Department of Chemical Engineering, and he has also been staying in Rajendra Prasad Hall of Residence. He started as the marketing head of Reliance Industries before he moved on to start Aasaanpay Solutions Private Limited right from the scratch. So we would love to hear from him. Mr. Acharya, the dais is yours.
Good evening, everyone. I hope you guys are passionate and enjoying here on a Sunday evening. Okay. I try to keep it as short, pithy, and laconic as possible. You know, we have all the evening to ask any questions. You guys should ask questions. You know, but in terms of what I have to say, I try to keep it as pithy as possible. Okay. From my side, I have been exactly like you guys. I think 25 odd years ago, 25 years ago, okay? So, possibly before many of you were born. So that's what it is. But that's the thing. I can't change that. In fact, I seem to miss out because, you know, I have passed out 24 years ago and I did not find time, and because of the locational so-called disadvantage of KGP, I have never come to the campus for the last 24 years after my convocation. And so it's a great opportunity. I really want to thank each and every one, and a lot of names I can tell you, people who have been talking with me, emailing with me for the last number of days. You know, Niharika, Vedant, a lot of people who have been kind of emailing, talking. So I know the kind of effort which goes behind organizing any small event or whatever you call it. So I would like to thank all of them. I'd like to thank the alumni cell or whatever it's called, some of the faculty who's behind it, the people who are, and all of you who come on a Sunday, and all my colleagues and fellow alumni here. Okay, so I think it's a good opportunity. Each of you guys should really hear what take maximum, extract out maximum. The way I look at it is very simple. We are like, some of you have heard of McKinsey. Have you heard of McKinsey? BCG. So we are like some of the topmost BCG consultants sitting here. Between us, maybe 400 years of experience or whatever the number of years are. Okay, so each of you, without paying for that service, you must extract maximum out of it. Okay, so that's the way you should look at it. So ask your right question, think. So make it very short. Maybe after the discussion, we'll just have a discussion, take out what you want to know. So that's the way you must look at it. So every transaction, look at it, what you can get out of it. And of course, as someone says, it's for you, it's for your society, it's for your nation. Find out what you want to do. So, in fact, I run a program which is, without any money. I do it for many of the campuses across the country and the world. It's called Campus to Corporate. It's a half-a-day program where I basically go and talk to the second year, first year, fourth year, fifth year MBA students as to how they can transition it. So many of these I can do whenever is required. So I'll really not get into telling you too much things. I'll just tell you a few points which I strongly believe in. Yeah. And I'll also try to share with you some of the good things possibly I have done in my career and not so good things, some of the mistakes I have done. And the whole idea of being a strong, good manager is one who can learn from the mistakes. Okay, so I'll try to share some of these things with you in this next 10 minutes. First thing I want to say, and that I think I personally as a person, as an individual and as a manager, I felt very important. And I'm a marketing person. So I'll actually borrow one marketing line. It's very simple. Many of you would have heard of it. It's called love what you do and do what you love. Okay. Can anyone say which company? Blackberry, yeah. That brand may be dead, but it's so, and I have personally always felt that if each of you can understand and appreciate this, this will really help in terms of what you want to do, your career, your personal life, and your balance between personal life and professional life. Okay, so you really have to enjoy and like what you are doing. And if you possibly are not liking, see, many of you are in such a stage of life and with a certain kind of background that you can actually switch from one to the other. Many people in India and across the world don't have that ability to do. Okay, so that's very important. Really to identify early on what you really like doing. See, all of us here may be doing various different things, but one of the things which I can tell you, what gives people personal satisfaction and possibly success in oneself is if you really understand and appreciate this. Do what you love and love what you do. Okay, so this is one thing which I want to leave with you guys. Think of it. Don't get too much swayed by what external forces are, what the wave is, what your wingmate is doing, and what your 1 year senior, your people have told you. It's really about you. So you must, and this is one of the first things I want to leave with you. Second thing I want to leave with you, and this is again from the first thing is a little bit of my mistake of life. Let me share with you. Okay, unlike some of the people who may be talking. When I joined IIT KGP in 1985, and then I was there for 4 years, 89, I have very pleasant memories. Actually, I don't have any unpleasant memories. I have extremely pleasant memories. I joined RP Hall. RP people are there? Yeah. Okay. So I joined RP Hall. I have very pleasant memories. It was very near from our academic building. I come from a metro city, so I have never learned cycling. I had to come to KGP and learn cycling. It was one night effort. Okay, so one night you can learn cycling, and we did it. So what I'm trying to say is that there are a lot of good things. I have extremely pleasant memories of IIT KGP, more or less. Of course, one of the key issues which I don't know whether it still persists, but my time it was definitely there, was the quality of food. That was one of the issues. But there's a flip side to that also. I remember my side, there was a system that you have to have a mess card. Is it still there? Yes. And you have all these things written, chicken and all that. And Sunday used to be chicken. Sunday lunch was chicken and some yellow rice or whatever it's called, pulao, biryani. Yeah. And a lot of my batchmates were from Calcutta. So they used to go back. So all the cards I used to collect, and I had. Tell you guys is that I have very fond and good memories actually. My time, I hope it doesn't happen now, but my time there was a major, what is called a union strike of the mess workers. Okay, that year. Yeah, hopefully it doesn't happen now, but it was a major union strike where first they said they will not work and possibly they stopped and there was no food. And if there is no food in the hostel, obviously, director has to close down. So at that time, our chairman, board of governors chairman was a gentleman called Mr. Rusi Modi. Okay. So, and I really like him for at least this thing. He was a very tough and aggressive leader. So he said that, okay, let them go on strike. So they wanted to go, they were threatening, and finally they went on strike. So what Rusi Modi did was, he got all his chefs and people and the people who serve food from his nearby Tata factory. There's a Tata bearings and some Tata refractory and all that factories there. So they got those chefs and the people who serve and all these people to serve us the food. And the kind of food we got in the mess is outstanding. a strontium lining. Okay, so behind, yeah, or whatever, every camera has a silver lining, like silver metal. I thought engineers will like strontium, so I used. But every calamity, every adversity, there is a positive in it. For everyone. Either there is a learning from you as a person, or for the society or the people who are involved. Okay, so this is one thing which is very important to pick up in life, because it's not just about professional, even your personal life, it's very important. This really gives you a certain direction. So I just wanted to share some of these things with you. In terms of KGP, I think overall I really liked, I enjoyed. I had no problem. In fact, I just went back to RP Hall. I saw my old room in D block, some 202 or 1 or something. And it was a triple-seater room, and I used to stay alone, of course. It was a big room and everything. I also remember one thing that which really kind of helped me is, I think early on, I did a little bit of sports at that time. Many of you would not believe it, but I was the athletics team captain. Okay, and I think someone was mentioning that I was also in RP Hall, and I was the General Secretary, Social and Cultural, and I think this year RP again has won. Yes, sir. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken. So I think for me personally, there has been a lot of learning of how do you handle big events, how do you understand people, how do you work with people, fairly diverse people. So these are the learnings which I have kind of got early on when I was a young person, I got that. So I think that really helped. Unfortunately, I did not do very well in my CGPA. It's not that bad that I cannot say, but I think it was clearly not in the top 9s and all. It was not there. So I didn't do very well in my engineering CGPA. But one good thing which I did was, in my 3rd year, I was very focused as to what I want to do. So I think by that time, I understood what I wanted to do. So that I think is again a key thing. Many of you are 1st year, 2nd year, 3rd year. Is that correct? Yes. Many of you, whatever. Or only 1st and 2nd years here. Final year also. Okay. So I think it is very important to really decide to talk to the ecosystem. Nowadays you have that advantage. We did not have that. You can go on LinkedIn, Facebook, ask some of your alumni, other people. You have a whole ecosystem available. Try to get information as to what you really want to do. From my point of view, I think by 3rd year I was quite clear that maybe I'm not either going for an engineering job, or I don't want to go to US. Because 50% of my batch obviously would be going MS or PhD and going to US. So I decided that for me, I think at that point of time, doing an MBA made sense. And I started preparing. I went into IMC. I applied only one institute, which is IIM Calcutta. Okay, my time there were 4. IIM Lucknow, A, B, C and L. I applied to only one. I got into IMC. And I think I had a good experience there. But the learning out of it, which I'm trying to share with you, is that at some point of time, you guys have to decide, or sometimes it might be because of various serendipity, what you want to do. And early on you can do it better. So I think this is a little bit of what I take out from IIT. I think I have pleasant memories. Our batchmates, our colleagues, our alumnus, our fraternity. Some of the profs also I was very close to. All of them would right now be fairly senior directors in other institutes or something. But I had a fairly pleasant memory of it, which I cherish. At IMC, my experience was very different. I ensured that at IMC, what is the topmost grade in IIT? A? What is it? Yes. Huh? Yes. S? Yes. Yes. Okay. Yes. X. Okay. In IMC, our grade at that time was A class. That was the topmost. So I ensured one thing, that in 2nd year, all the subjects which were there, I tried to get A class. Okay, so my whole orientation to life slightly changed. This did not happen in IIT. So I kind of changed my orientation and I think it was good. So it was good. In second year it is by choice. You can actually choose what you want to do. So these are some of the changes which happened, and I think if you look at it, look back, I have no regrets. I think it was something good. I changed my focus. In terms of corporate career, my career, nothing much compared to some of the stalwarts here. I have been a very staid person, which we have done the usual conventional thing. So my first 10 years of career was in typical multinational. So I worked in Procter & Gamble, I worked in Pfizer, and I worked in Pepsi. Actually that time Pepsi was a challenger brand. Now of course Pepsi everyone knows. So typically in sales marketing, learning what it is, and I think what MNCs taught me is 2-3 things. One, you have to have a very systematic approach. That's very important. 2, define what you want to do, whether it is in terms of the brand or anything. Get the definition correct. And we follow that thing of planning, execution and review. Planning, execution, review. Yeah. In fact, I tend to agree that a lot of Indian managers unfortunately only seem to do execution and very little of planning and review. That's my 24 years experience. So this is, however, it can be different with different people. So this is the first 10 years of my career, and incidentally because I have been in sales marketing and all of you would know because I have been party to building some of the big brands in India, brands like Dettol and Ariel and O'Donnell and Dabur, all these brands you would be familiar with. These are some of the brands which I have built from a marketing point of view. One of the things also my job entailed is that I have actually traveled because of my sales nature of my job in all the districts of the country except Jammu and Kashmir. So I have to travel in all, because in FMCG you have distributors everywhere. You have to practically travel, and that my time there was no SAP, there was no internet. So if you have to understand anything, the national sales manager has to physically go there. Unlike now where there is a lot of technology available. I try to make it slightly short. The second part of my career, the 10 years, I actually worked in very different kind of companies. I worked in telecom and retail, and in retail I was one of the first employees of Reliance Retail. I had the whatever you call fortune, misfortune of working with Mukesh Ambani and Anil Ambani, both of them. So they are my bosses. So a few things I want to tell which I have really learned. One of the things I have learned from there is that the vision of MDA, we call MDA, Mukesh Ambani we call MDA, is he thinks the largest canvas possible. So that's one learning. So when I joined in, he met me and some of my other colleagues, and he said, first 2 months you travel across the world and get for me the benchmark of the best retail formats which are there. Either in electronics, in CDIT, in grocery, in lifestyle, apparel. So that was our job. And then he said that try to set and build for me something which is better than some of these at a great value price. So I really understood what is large visioning. Just because it's an Indian company doesn't mean we'll have to think anything lower than anyone else in the world. So this is one great learning I had, working in Reliance. That you can actually think of the largest vision for anything. And I have really seen and I have kind of imbibed part of it. That it doesn't matter what sector you are in, you can actually think the largest, biggest, best, whatever you may call. And the second thing I of course picked up, which has really helped me now in my third phase of career, when I'm part entrepreneur, is you might be any size. You might be a 100 rupees company or you might be a $25 billion company. But the understanding of commercials and the way you do commercial negotiation is very important. So in the real world, unless you're very clear on commercial negotiation, you may not have necessarily commercial success. So that's a very key part of any managerial job. These companies like Reliance, which I worked in my next phase of career, really taught me some of these. And I think, you guys can ponder over it. This is my experience I'm sharing with you. You have to see whether it makes sense or not. The third phase of my career, I am right now trying to be an entrepreneur. Yeah, I am also in a little bit of transition stage. So where I have been a corporate person or whatever you call an employee, and now an entrepreneur, I have actually invested and we are growing a company which is into healthcare. It's called tertiary healthcare. It's in a specialized field called nephrology. That's what I'm trying to do. Apart from my day job, which is CEO of Aasaanpay, which is a tech startup. So as an entrepreneur, I have learned few things and I think this is important. See, one of the things is that as an entrepreneur, you have to think differently. That's one. Number two is you have to think on the feet. These are some examples where I think given. You know how you have to think on the feet to make things happen. Third is you must have a vision. The thing is that it's not only about you having a vision, but that must be a shared vision with your people. You know, and in small companies, it's not that easy. For a large company, it's very easy to share the vision. Small companies, it's your personal passion and vision which will get oftentimes mixed. So that's very important. And fourth is have a game plan, have patience, have good ideas. One of my personal experience or professional experience which I can share with you is that during my time 24 years ago, even if one had a great idea, India did not have that much of an ecosystem in the private sector of what we call nowadays of a venture cap, angel funding was not there. Today I think India is at a stage where there is something available. It is not that it's the best in the world, but at least there is something. So the last I think thought I want to leave with you guys, and you know, I'm happy to take as many questions either now or later, but I want to keep the talk as short as possible. The last thing which I want to leave with you guys is that I don't have figures about IIT KGP, but I visit a lot of my campuses like IMC, IMA and IMB for recruitment in the last 10, 15, 20 years. One of unfortunate things which I have noticed is that out of a batch of 300, 400, 500 people, when I go to recruit them, I ask them, there are hardly 3-4 people who say that they want to become entrepreneurs or they are actually staking their job to become an entrepreneur. Okay, so I will really urge you guys to think about entrepreneurship because the biggest asset which you have with you is right now time. It should not happen that after 20-25 years like me you want to become an entrepreneur. Then you lose out 25 years. Okay, so that's the thought I want to leave with you guys and thanks. Thank you.